here's what we're gonna do. Alright, so next time, see if you can get a live gameplay one rather than a review video.
Okay.
The reason being is because I want to see your camera control and your movement and your mouse clicks and things.
Right.
And this doesn't give me any of that information. Because, like, I have no idea where your camera
Yeah.
is at or anything. Right? I just have to watch it, and if you mechanically failed, I can't really tell how or why. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. First things first is you want to get off the platform the second it opens every game.
Mm.
Because if. Okay. I didn't open my thing I usually open. Give me 1 second. I'm going to need this. Okay, so every game, I'll wait till I get a little bit better angle on this. Every game is generally a race to this point.
Right.
I'm going to do yellow, this point, right? Because if you get a ward or if you get control of this bush and somebody comes out around this corner late, they probably die or they blow a flash, right?
Yep.
So if you're starting a race, you want to get off the blocks as fast as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
This this is terrible. Never
Yep.
do that.
Yeah.
You provide no information to your team. What are you doing? Defending the tower, right? Like
Yeah.
that's silly when you can stand here or here or here or even back here. All of these places would give you useful information for your team to prevent an invade on the jungle.
Yep.
This is just lazy. It gives you nothing. Okay.
Yeah. Typically, I do rush right out of base. That could have possibly been me walking away, which of course is not acceptable if I'm truly trying to win the game hardcore.
Ugh. I do not like that Nautilus flash. So, just a little thing on Nautilus. He should have waited for a window to force the hook,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And
Nautilus is my other main.
yeah, wait for a window to force the hook. They will flash away from you. You can then flash
Mm-hmm.
and hit the auto to lock them here. That way they lose their escape.
Yeah.
But when you flash to root them, then they're going to flash away from your ability to hook, like, for example, through a big fat piece of fucking terrain, and then they get away, right?
Yep.
That tip is more for anybody watching the video than it is for you, though. So,
It can still go for me since I do main Nautilus kind of on the side. At least I used to. He doesn't feel very good in top lane anymore.
yeah.
At least not if I'm trying to carry. There we go.
All right. A little breadcrumb there.
I always ward that at 130.
That's a good word.
That way I
Okay.
can see if they're doing Scuttle Crab. And actually, this is probably my
Okay.
favorite play
So,
right here.
two reasons why that's a good word. One, you can see whether they're doing scuttle crab. Two, it gives you no real additional vision as if you warded from here, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of top laners always just want to ward here and they're like, I'm safe. But whether you ward here or here, that path is still open for ganks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it doesn't really matter unless you have both of these bushes warded. But
Yeah.
if you were down here, you are correct. It gives you useful information as to who's got scuttler control, and it gives you an earlier warning if they take this path.
Yep.
So that's good.
I don't like warding the brush down there unless I'm pushing up and I have a pink ward. But usually I'll drop my trinket ward about halfway in between the bush and where my ward is right now.
Why is Lee Sin still at blue? Did he get no? She's cleared both of her buffs and his. How? What happened? Like, how does that happen? Okay, this is good. You might as well finish it.
Yeah.
If it's half dead and you've lost lane priority and the guy's not shoving, okay, so that was greedy. Will this end up working out? Yes, it will.
Yes.
All right, good.
I knew I could get away from them if I needed to. I could flash, and Lee Sin was on his way.
Yeah,
It, I could have played it slightly better mechanically. I shouldn't have auto attacked maybe one time there.
I honestly I didn't really have a problem with any of the things you did. It was just greedy, and you pulled it off. So good job. That's a risk taken and a reward gotten. You know, in Plat, I wouldn't count on jugglers having their head out of their ass for that. Just because I've seen Plat map awareness, and some Plat players have it, and others do not at all have it.
Yeah.
I was about to say right there, you should take that because there's nothing you can do in lane, and it's gonna push back at you.
Mm-hmm. My map awareness is sometimes hit or miss.
I
Some
mean,
games I'm
yeah,
perfect, other games I'm dog shit.
that was my big problem too. And I mean, to a certain degree, it's still a problem that I have.
Well, that's why you play TF support, so you don't need to have map awareness.
That was an experiment. Great success. Not really.
I didn't know what you meant when you said my kickflip screwed you up at the end of the game. Then I rewatched it.
Oh,
I thought you meant it just messed up your damage a little bit, not that it made your Q go backwards. And I watched like, holy shit! I
yeah,
never
I
knew
didn't even
that
know that
either.
interaction was a thing until that happened. And then I was like, oh shit, it moved my.
It
Like,
doesn't even make sense either because my vault would push you
push me
backwards.
back. Right.
It shouldn't push your aim backwards. That's weird.
Well, I don't know exactly what happened. I think I was hitting Q when you were when you landed the kick. So it stunned me during the time I would have cast it, and my mouse was moving backwards
Right.
to run
Had like
away.
had like a buffer mechanic, like
Right,
an Ezreal Q if you cast it like a half second before it's up.
right. And so I
I
was like,
might have died if you
you've
hit
got to
it.
be kidding me. Okay, so that was a really good trade. Now you need to make sure that he doesn't get anything back off. Like, okay, so okay, we're gonna back this
I
thing up. Okay, so you had a really good trade on him. He's low. With Vlad, you have to keep high pressure or he will sustain through you. You've already got a incredible lead here, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you know that your trade pattern, if you do a full trade, like this is a full trade of all your abilities and like two auto attacks,
Yeah.
right?
Without him healing.
Without him healing is 55% of his life bar,
Yep.
right? So, if you know that, anytime that he is under 55, you have lethal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to be playing the game going, okay, if I have my cooldowns and he's under 55%, I need to be bullying him out. Because if
Yep.
you, and I've said this in a ton of coaching videos, and if you watch any of my coaching videos, then you're going to see this, but I'm going to say it again anyway. But like, let's say, are you doing QMax or
W actually.
Oh, for the Harrier damage or
The
what?
move speed and the attack speed.
Move speed and attack speed. Okay, that's new. I is that what Quinn Top does? I don't play Quinn Top, and so I'm not familiar.
Typically, high elo Quinn mains will max W and then Q. It's
Hmm.
not very often that they max anything else first.
Okay. Well, no, that's interesting. Okay, so here's like I said, you know what your combo does, so that's good because like your Q did probably 15%. Your Harrier empowered auto did probably another 15%, and then you had two more, I think, autos, right? And the kickflip damage
Yeah.
was probably, let's say, 25 or 30. Well, it'd be 35, right? So right
Yeah,
here,
I'll
if we
have
add
those.
all this up, 40, 50, 65%, which is about what you did,
Yeah.
right? So at this point moving forward, we go, okay, is life less than 65? Like, then like red in the eyes, bull charge.
Hmm.
This is what we're doing, right?
Yep.
And particularly if you have ignite up,
Yeah.
then you can also knock that down from is life less than 70% or is life less than 75,
Hmm.
right? Because that's the point at which you have lethal if you add ignite to this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's knock that back down to 65 because I assume he's going to heal once.
Yeah.
So there you go. So at that point, you need to play.
In front
So,
of the minions.
right. So your minion line is here. Like this is your line of scrimmage right now. You need to be standing right now here. As this minion wave approaches, though, you don't need to be in front because you want it to acquire your cannon.
Yeah.
So you need to move back to here. And then after these minions have acquired their target and settled back on this line, then you move back forward.
I think that's the one thing I do wrong when I do start to zone is I'll start in front first and not let the minions start attacking my own. Then I'll take a
Yeah, you'll
good
take a
chunk of
good
health.
chunk of minion damage. Yeah, so like if I back this up a little bit, right? Um, so like these minions are all gonna crash. They're gonna actually hit like probably here,
Hmm.
right? So that's fine. There are two ways you can do it. You can do exactly what I said by you move back, let them acquire, and then move forward, right? Which is let's say option A, right? Option B, oop, lost my lines. That's option A. Option B is you wait till they kind of get close and then you dip into the bush. They
Hmm.
acquire a target and then you can walk back out, right? Which would be your better scenario here?
Yeah. Less
Which
vision for
no,
them
no,
to.
no. I mean, which one would it be? A or B?
Oh, I would say B, just because I'd be closer to him in the bush and he'd have no vision.
Okay, so let's compare the two, right? If I take the bush and I do this and I draw the edges of it, right? The thing about the bush is that it extends your area of influence to the entire bush. So
Hmm.
instead of being at like a character model with an area of influence, you're a bush with an area of influence. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? Much
Yeah.
bigger. Well, it's not that far, but it's like that, right?
Yeah.
So, because you can hit your abilities out of whatever, anywhere in this area. So, that's great. That's what bushes are generally for. That's generally the advantage of a bush, and they can't really directly target you, which means that you're always going to get first shot on Vlad, which is great considering your aggression pattern. The problem is the minion wave is too far, or will be too far when it hits, right? Because it's going to hit like in this area,
Mm.
right? And he's favoring this side of the lane.
That's true.
So if you want to have an impact, you won't from this bush because he can safely kind of cheat forward and backwards being at the
Right.
edge of your impact range. So option A is the way to go here. You see if you're going to zone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. Let's keep watching. So you shoot, you're too far back, you only need to be here,
Right.
right? So, and that's like nitpicky because I'm like, oh, you're too far back, and you're this far away, right?
But it does make a difference.
But a flash is this far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're half a flash if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, you're just too far back, which means that he can cheat forward this far and maybe do something to this thing. So you'll have to
Mm-hmm.
step forward, right? Okay. It's just the principle of zoning somebody is that you want to, when you have the situation that you've got, which is I win and all in, right? Then you have the authority to say, and then I'm going to execute dominance on you because if you want to step up, you will be all in, right? So you don't get this minion, you don't get this minion, you don't get this minion, and then you'll get whatever ends up making it to tower. But by God, if you step forward, it's gonna be an all in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Texas Hold'em. I have more chips, and I'm gonna bully you with my pot. Same thing. You have
Yep.
more. You have more chips, and he's sub lethal. This is when you should be like he shouldn't be anywhere near. He shouldn't even be allowed to use a Q on a minion to get
Mm-hmm.
his health back. Like that needs to be your priority. Is like I'm going to yank. Like you're gonna get pushed off here. The problem is with your zoning right now is that you don't have any abilities.
Yeah.
So I get falling back into the minion wave and waiting, which is fine because like I said, you don't have lethal until these come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm talking about is things to be thinking about, not things that are necessarily applicable like right now, right?
Yeah.
Because that's here's the other thing is whenever I coach, I will not care at all about mechanical fail. It's mentality things that make a difference to me, right?
Yeah.
So like right now, this is up, and these guys have all acquired targets. You move down,
Yep.
start your zone. Yeah, there you go. That's fine. Vi is too late anyway.
Man, my recording quality was crap.
I
I couldn't
would.
even tell if I had a ward there until I walked by it now.
All right, so I wouldn't
Roam
worry
this
too
far.
much. Well, no, I wouldn't worry too much about this. This is fine.
No.
You just got him. Now,
Unfortunately, it
what I was
doesn't
gonna
work.
say is you you shouldn't go this far without a purpose, is what I was saying. So if you're going this far to gank, then that's great. But like, granted, with Vi approaching, and you didn't really 100% know for certainty where Vi is, right? So like, we saw Vi, we saw her kind of back out, but we didn't see her recall, right?
Mhm.
So you don't really know where she is. That's fine because I still think you would beat her right now, right?
That's probably what my mentality was at that point.
Yeah, I mean you'd probably beat her right now, but and I don't care about that. The gank was good. The roam was good. Because you've got this guy pushed in, he can't do anything, and whatever, you're good, right? But what I'm getting at is if you're gonna roam, you need to either in this situation, you need to either go like clean up a jungle camp or clean up one of her jungle camps if you can swing it. Like if you know Vi isn't there, you can take a jungle camp and go back to lane.
Hmm.
It's what keeps you ahead and up in EXP and shit because you're not making anything walking that far.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like this shit is I played against a challenger like a challenger Riven main, which I got fucking smashed, but it doesn't even I mean it doesn't matter. But like I went back after the game and I watched the things that that Riven did because I was like, God damn, this guy is staying so far ahead of me in EXP. How is this fucking possible? And like, what he would do is anytime that he couldn't access or use the minion wave, he would just go grab something, like
Yeah.
grab something else. Like he would extract value off the board that otherwise would have just sat. That may piss off his jungler, but it kept him to where he was able to just constantly like outdo me because
Yeah.
like dude's always up a level on me or more and you can't do anything, right? So the only other thing I'd say is I'm gonna watch this gank again. It was a pretty questionable flash. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty questionable flash. So like he didn't see you. He had already cheated up to here. You were right here. If you just walk in this way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, first things first, like how you play a gank. And I don't know if you knew if he didn't have flash, right? Because he doesn't. But I don't know if you knew that information or not.
I don't know if it was called out.
Yeah.
I might
So,
have.
so like, what you generally want to do in a gank is not burn your gap close until you're absolutely required to, right?
Yeah.
Because it forces him to react to your presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you walk in from here. As you walk that far, he can walk this far to try to get away from your gap, your Akali here,
Yeah.
right? So he has to run this way, or he's gonna run this way. Either way, Akali can gap close on like this straight line makes it easier for Akali to do damage, right? If he takes
Yeah.
this route, he closes here. If he takes this route, you can kick flip him by the time you get to about here,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then he's slowed, and then you have auto Q, auto till he gets here and he's dead, right? If he has flash up, he'll get to here and then he'll flash to here, which means that either you can still kick flip from here and then auto him down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can elect to follow up with your flash at that point, right? But make him burn his,
Yeah.
right? Because you force him to start making decisions, or conversely, to try to dodge, right? So if you just walk in and he's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and he tries to juke and then he tries to do this kind of stuff, right? Like that is essentially just making him enter this motion is a slow,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it that way,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I always see, like, I'm gonna imagine that you're Lee Sin right now, right? I always see Lee Sins being like, I'm gonna ward hop to here, then I'm gonna throw my Q, and then I'm gonna get him, and that's what I'm gonna do, right?
Sounds like me when I play Lee Sin,
Right.
which
Well,
I
I mean,
don't much.
you don't. The ward hop to here isn't necessarily bad. Like that's fine, because then
Good
you
point.
put this pressure, right?
Yeah.
And he has to make a decision like, do I run this way? Do I try to run through you? Whatever, right? And Lee Sin's whole point is I want to do my like E slow, right?
Yeah.
And then I can hit you with this for free. And also, didn't he just kind of use wind wall? Thought I watched him just use wind wall a little bit ago.
Uh, possibly.
Okay, because he didn't use it here, but the whole point is if you can force him into a corner, the more he'll try to juke and dodge you, the closer that you'll end up getting, and then
Mm-hmm.
the easier it is to hit your skill shot.
Yep.
So that's like a huge mistake I see junglers make, particularly plat junglers, is they gank and at the soonest I can hit my button, I do it. Right? Which oftentimes the best thing to do is just walk as long as you can walk and then hit your button.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, if you have 100 to 0 burst combo, if you're this far away, then fuck it, hit your button. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying you have to let the guy escape or like get all the way right next to escaping before you do something. You see what? Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Because I'm not
Yes.
selling this
Yes.
very well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No. No. You're fine.
Hooray.
I was
Akali
kind of
got it.
Yeah. I was kind of sad when she got that. I'm like, woo, 75
Use your
gold.
ult here.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't is if I ulted, I would be at about quarter mana almost.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason I'm saying this is because either Vlad is, I mean, he's already like filled back up. You can, well, I was looking at this, and I guess you don't have that information, so we'll just pretend that doesn't exist.
I
But,
can see it.
you know, well, I'm saying you can see it because it's replay. You don't
Oh.
have that in
Duh.
the
Yeah.
game. So, like, anyway, what I was saying is I already know that he's at beyond kill pressure and he's got this huge minion wave. So all you're going to be doing here is farming under tower, right? So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter
Yeah. That.
that you burn mana. It's about getting back here before you start losing minions to tower. What I said about using your ult doesn't matter now because you got back anyway in time. But the second he realized you were gone, he should have been hard shoving this.
Yeah.
And he didn't for whatever reason. But you should have had to have lost some minions to tower. But he was nice enough to hold them there for you. So there you go.
The perks of being in low plat with horrible elo.
Okay, so I wouldn't have done that, but you kind of made it. Oof. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. That was horrible.
yeah, it makes all those minions unCSable under tower to queue them, right? Okay,
Yeah.
right here, you know Vlad backed, and you've got pretty decent wave clear, and you want to back, wipe this wave first.
All right. I was more thinking about freezing, but I probably did a bad freeze anyways.
Well, I don't think this is going to freeze
Yeah, exactly.
because like this is gonna die, and you still have 3 and 3. This will probably end up pushing this way.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the best with minion wave dynamic, but if you are beyond the middle point and you want a freeze, you have to have like this side has to have minion advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I
By
think
about
it's like
three.
three. It's like this. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tower doesn't. My
Yeah.
things are a little bit off, but I think it's like
Yes.
that. Last I
Yeah.
You don't have that. This isn't going to freeze.
Yep.
So you might as well like if you can hard shove it. Now, if I back up,
I should
so
have been able to at that point.
like yeah, you miss that one. We're gonna just auto attack, and both of these should be dead. Now, this wave has literally just arrived. This wave is just departing base. So if you attack, attack, whatever, right? Like just imagine you're trying to clear this wave. Attack,
Yeah, I could have.
attack, attack, dead, attack,
I
attack,
could have shoved it.
attack, dead, attack, 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 dead. Cue the back line. Attack, 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 dead. Now they're
Yep.
pushing in. They may not make it in time because they would have had to have arrived by now.
Yeah.
So to get a full, to get a full freeze. But let's see how it worked out. By the way, I'm not going to analyze your build as to like what items you chose because I don't care, and you probably know more about it than me because you play Quinn.
True statement.
Did you check to see what he was building or what he built on his back?
No, probably not.
Okay. Because you might have wanted to do that just to see that he wasn't on an item power spike. I mean, I know you've got more resources than him, but if he got a critical item or a Zanya's or something, that's only 600,
Mm-hmm.
and that can give him a huge outplay potential on you. Okay, you're going to roam here.
My monitor keeps sleeping.
Hey, fortunately, Vi didn't decide to show up. She totally could have at any point in that. She was there and decided to finish Scuttle. Good. Good fruit pickup. So, remember whenever I told you, like, go down, look for a camp or something to take, right? That's option. This is plan B.
Yeah.
There are no camps. Eat the fucking fruit. Did you have a ward to drop?
Probably not.
Okay, I'm gonna harp at you for a second here. You know Vlad is in that bush. You watched him walk into it, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, did I not use that? Holy shit, I'm bad.
It's up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, definitely. That's unlike me, actually.
I was say that's up.
Yeah,
Also, I think you had ult, so
should have used it right.
if you were gonna use ult right here,
I could have caught him.
you could have caught him and you would have killed him.
I would. I was being really
See,
stingy. This my
if you had like ult W, you can see him now. You won't
Yep.
miss this bird, right? Also, don't shoot a blind skill shot into a bush when you can't see what you're doing, right? Because the here you're giving up a huge portion of your damage and
Mm-hmm.
your utility on a random coin flip when it doesn't need to be like that because you know you're going to fight this fight to completion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The no Harrier is inexcusable.
But like I said, that plus your ult damage, it's game. He's
Yep.
dead. Yeah, like one thing I will say that does plague Plat players, and I mean Quinn should not count for this. By the way, I can hear myself talk. Um, Quinn should not count for this, but don't save your ult. Like just don't save it. Use it at
Yeah.
every opportunity. I don't mean just like blindly fire it, but I would say it's less of a sin to blindly fire it than to hold it for 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like most of your ults are on like around 100 to 120-second cooldown, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have an ult every 2 minutes of the game if you would use it. I mean, this is not your Quinn. Your ult has like no meaningful cooldown to speak of. Oh, this went poorly. Yikers. Okay, hold on. Let's back that up and
Yeah, I was
see.
fixing audio settings, so I didn't see that. Yep.
Okay. I can still hear myself. Can you just turn me down a little bit?
1 second.
All right. So at this point, right here, I largely agree with what you're doing, right? Because you got one guy coming in here on a TP, not a big deal. You can burst this guy, finish it off, and if you need to, you can go that way, right? So I'm with your play up to this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still with it. Okay. And that's kind of where it went sideways. And
I
then the
disrespected
Alistair
the
showed up.
tornado.
Yeah, he disrespected. So, like, mentally, the play you're making here is like you realize he has the tornado because the animation is on him,
Yep.
right? So, don't use your gap closer as soon as you get into range.
Yeah.
Like, you have super speed. You can run this way, parallel him through the minions, right? And then force him to either the Q runs off cooldown, right? Because there's a timer on this to throw it, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 seconds, right? So he either throws this or not. But if you wait, you have bird movement speed to like juke it and then still catch him.
Yeah.
So like this goes back to my whole like don't throw your gap closers the second you have your gap closers. It's better to make them run and close that gap like with just make forcing ah with pressuring them to make movement decisions, you will close a gap.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this, of course, goes to total shit. But the Alistair made that not happen. But like I said, if you were still in bird form and you saw your Alistair, you could have just been like, nope,
Yep.
and been out, right? Because like for better or worse, you use that gap close, you're committed.
Yeah, I got too greedy.
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think you got too greedy. I think that you just misplayed when to shoot what. I think the greed was fine. Like I said, I was with your decision all the way right until you eat in.
Yeah.
And that's the only. Then, like when Alistair came out of nowhere, then you wouldn't have been committed, and you could have been like, okay, I can't, and that would have been fine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you just, I'm gonna stop again real quick. When you analyze a play, like any play, right? Big mistake that Plat and gold and even silver players make is they go, okay, well, what happened? I died, right? So then that was a bad decision.
Yep. I remember this podcast and
Okay.
completely agree with what you say.
But this isn't the way you need to think. You need to think like, not what's the result, but if I had played perfect, and then you can, if you want to be super critical, you can take if I had played perfect and discount it for bad mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't, and I'll explain why in a second. But and bad mechanics minus percentage chance equals, and then is it good or bad? We don't know, right? But like if I had at 100% execution then what would have happened, right? So this is my basis. This is my baseline.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not trying to climb, go ahead and do this and reduce for whether or not your bad mechanics would impact your abilities. Then fine, maybe it's a bad call because you can't execute it, right? But the whole point is, like I said, if you're not trying to climb, that's how you think. If you're trying to climb, this is a crutch.
Yep.
So, because like you've got to practice these bad mechanical plays in order to make your mechanics better, because you want to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I can execute this damn near 100% of the time, right? Like I just had a play last game that was like crazy tilting game where I was here with Fiddle. I ulted to here and I flashed to there, right? To put me in the middle of three people that were like here, here, and here. Okay, here's the problem. I should have taken 2 steps before I flashed because there was a Vigar event horizon there,
Oh
and I
no.
flashed right into it,
Oh,
and then I got instantly annihilated by Vigar. And I went,
that sucks.
fuck. Like, good idea, horrible execution. But if I had done this, I would have said, oh, I died. That was bad. That was stupid. Should never try that. And then I'll never try this play again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just lose over and over and over again because I've now convinced myself that the play doesn't exist. Not that I failed, but that it doesn't exist. Right?
Yep.
Do you see how much damage that causes? If I like, cause okay, so let's say I just do like this one game, that play doesn't exist. I made a mistake and that play doesn't exist. Then 3 games from now, I have another one, right? Oh, did that. That play doesn't exist. 6 games, 10, 15.
Soon you're just sitting in base, not doing anything.
Right. Well, this is why people get stuck in silver. And being deadly serious when I say this, and it's not trying to like be like a dick to silver players, because all these things, like I'm gonna just do this, right? Like, see how these are little things that are just kind of adding up over time,
Yep.
right? Because I've played 3,000 games, so I'm just gonna do this a whole fucking bunch, and then I have all these rules in my head about how everything's going to fucking be, right? Or like, what's the result gonna be, or what's the blah blah blah. And these are all things that I cannot do, right? Here's one. I had a guy once tell me I never tower dive before 6.
Hmm.
So that's now a huge section of potential advantage is just gone, and it's going to be tower shaped.
Yeah.
So here's a shield, and here's a little staff with the thing on it. So that's all gone, right?
It's a
Um,
good draw.
yeah, we don't take Baron because without everyone being dead, right? Okay, so here's Baron with his little T-Rex arms,
Oh my god.
and there's your Baron. So this is another thing that we can never do that takes away, and then just little itsy bitsy things that are rules that you've built up from experience because it's
Yep.
failed mechanical executions that are now things that we just never do, right?
It's a good analogy because you're pretty much making this blinding yourself on the screen, but you're blinding yourself in game doing
Right,
all of
right. And I mean, one thing is not a big deal. It's not like that. It is, but it's not. Right. So like this little play may come up 1 out of every 1,000 games, but I'll never do it anymore. But that's not that big of a deal because 1 out of 1,000 games isn't going to stop me from climbing.
that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of this shit in aggregate is a huge problem. Right.
Yep.
So a huge part of Plat is shattering this like glass ceiling of misconception. Because
Yep.
like I'll tell you who's the guy that's doing this kind of very, very, very slowly right now is Zill.
Oh no.
Well, no, I'm serious. He'll agree with me. I'm not dogging on the guy, but
Yeah.
like this is his problem is that he's got a whole bunch of like mental stopping points that prevent him from cresting Plat. And Tycho
Yeah.
probably also. That's probably not fair for me to say that of Tycho because I haven't really played enough games with him. But Tycho has this kind of problem, right? I
Yeah.
think anyway, but I don't know. Like you don't know for sure. But I mean, that being said, like this is Zill's problem. Maybe not this or this, but like a whole bunch of these little things. And Zill, like, since he's been playing more with me and since we've been taunting him about it, right? Is starting to pull back on some of these.
Yeah.
Like they're not all gone, but he's starting to erase some of those. And this is the kind of thing that I refer to as the Plat glass ceiling because so many people get stuck at Plat because they think they're playing real well or they think they're playing like on the edge of what's possible,
Yeah.
but but
Not even close.
but they're not even close, and they don't understand that they're not even close, right? Like they don't see the stuff that's on the screen because of all this obstruction shit, right?
Yep.
So like a lot of what I will tell you is you need to mind nuke yourself and relearn everything through the view of if I executed this perfectly, would it have worked?
Yep.
Okay, great. Then I need to increase my ability to execute, not decrease my ability to make plays,
Yeah.
right? So that's fine. This play down here is a perfect example of that. Like perfect execution would have been staying in bird form, dodging the Q, and
Yep.
then making a decision.
And I do remember explicitly in there. I did not say it was a bad play. I was telling myself, "Wow, I am trash. That was
Yeah,
bad."
yeah. So I mean, you don't and don't beat yourself to shit over it either. Okay,
Yeah.
so one more thing.
I think I dive here and fuck up. Yep. This is the
No, that's
yep, that's the
okay.
time.
So here's how
That's the time.
your dive wasn't your fuck up. We'll back up right here.
I think my auto
So
attack stuttered.
this is good. This is fine. This is great. And this is good. You took a position that enables him to not do anything, right? Okay. First off, you're in great shape right here. Hit the fucking S key and just stop. Because the tower hasn't acquired you and he has to get around you to get to safety. And
Yeah.
he's already pooled. But he's a human being and you haven't auto attacked him yet.
Yeah. I think.
One 1000, two. Okay. You missed an auto right there. Because,
Yeah.
like, he came. I'm going to watch it again. So, right here and right there. If
I
you
think I
auto him right
misclicked.
now, like auto him right now,
Yep.
see how you waited that one so you could have autoed and then queued during that animation,
Yeah.
then he'd be one more auto attack down right now,
Yep.
and then you flashing out and you succeed. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that is the tiniest of mechanical things, and I'm not like trying to rip your head off or anything, but
No. No. I. That.
that's
So
literally
glad.
like that's where your damage maximization is super important, and that's just how clean you are. With like
Yeah. And then
one little ounce of cleanliness more, you'd have been golden.
that's the point I'm at with Quinn is little tiny things I do care about with as far as her
Oh,
mechanics go.
me playing ADC, that is a huge problem for me playing
Yeah.
ADC. So I get it, man. Like And I'm actually like okay at ADC, but like I'm not that clean, right? And I need to be cleaner. Like when you see like like Diamond 2 or Diamond 1 ADCs, which I am not, right?
Hmm.
That's the big difference. Is like their ability to tie together all of their moves with like no lag or delay. I don't have that. But I'm not a Quinn top main, so get your shit together.
No, I know. I do need to get my shit together.
uh,
I'm not consistent. Some games I will absolutely trash. Other games, eh.
mhm. Well, I'll tell you this. There's like a video that God, who's that guy? I can picture his face in my mind, but I can't think of what his fucking name is.
The
Um,
Quinn main.
no, his name's Nisi or
Okay.
Nice. He coaches this Quinn top, and he makes the video as the Legend of the Gentle Quinn, and that shit was hilarious because he's just ripping on this guy. He's like, "Why aren't you in this dude's face? Why aren't you shooting him? Why aren't you kick? You're a lane bully. Bully him. Go, go. Why are you being so gentle?"
If he was coaching me, he'd be telling me, "Why aren't you bullying better? Why are you dying under turret?"
Well, I mean, shit, like, yeah, you could have. I mean, there was a couple of spots, like that one that we stopped, and I pointed out, like, you need to be like more forwardly aggressive, right?
Yeah,
But it wasn't bad, right?
it just wasn't diamond.
Yeah, it's just not diamond. And if that's your goal and that's what you want to get to, like, you do need to clean some of that stuff up, right?
Yep.
And like lane presence is a huge, especially if you're gonna roll Quinn. You know what I mean? Like lane
Mm-hmm.
presence is a huge thing. Roaming's a huge thing. Your roaming was actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm not really worried about it. Oh, by the way, as Quinn, and I don't know why you didn't do this, but like this is a silver path.
Yep.
This is not. And generally, this is a much better path in about every way possible.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you came in on that gank and he was up here, right?
Yeah.
You could have walked in this way and then
Been behind.
he has
Behind
to
them.
yeah, he has to move either forward or run to that side or whatever. You see what I'm
Try to
getting
kill
at?
it. Yeah.
And then you definitely wouldn't have to burn flash and it's less likely to be warded. Um like
Right.
diamond plus wards start going out here or here, but they are hardly ever right here. Well,
Yeah.
here, if I'm going to say hardly ever, let me like there. Hardly ever there, very often there, very often there, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they give better information. Just like your ward back here at the beginning of the game, right? Like Diamond, people look at that shit more, and so therefore the wards being further away are better, right? But the
Yep.
higher the elo you get, the less and less the percentage of success on this gank will be.
Yeah. Because if there was an Udyr in a game and you're immobile mid, that ward does nothing. He'll just
Yeah.
walk on your face.
Right, right. So don't this is a bush you should stray away from using to gank.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that in the moment whenever we were talking about that, but I wish I had. See?
Yeah.
Whatever, I missed it. But
That
the
ward was
point
right
was that
there.
the ward was on this side, not in the bush, which is a
Yeah.
weird thing to say, but that's because that's become a more common gank spot.
This was such an atrocious thing that happened.
When
Oh my god, it
no,
went way south. Horrible. both me and Jin just got outplayed by the wall for no reason. I mean, it
Okay,
worked
I've
out in the
I've
end,
got
but
to I've got to dissect this from the Jin's point of view because this you guys both got outplayed by the wall. Whatever that happens, like this was more of a good play on his part than it was a bad play on yours, right? But
the Jin made me cry right around that
this
area.
shit is what I call. I made this up and it got me banned off Reddit. But so this is what I call the rule of uh, Kevin spacing,
Uh, I remember
where
that.
if anybody gets within this range of you, they should have a bad day, right? If they're in arm's reach of you, they're probably having a bad day. So in this scenario, you will watch the Jin auto him down to like 0 hit points and then shoot a W, right? None of which is necessary if he just keeps moving forward when he autos. And here's the difference is in Jin's mind, because Jin is a plat level ADC, in Jin's mind, that the thing that I want to do to be good at ADC is to keep this rigid, like I have tied a rope from my waist to his waist.
Yeah.
And I need that rope to be 100% tight with no slack in it at all times, or I'm a bad ADC. Because this rope is safety, right? Like, as long as it's tight, I can get away easier, right? Because I'm at max range. But here's where
There's
he
a half.
fucks. Here's where
There's
he
a half
fucks up.
health,
Yeah, no, here's where he fucks up. This is an all in, no matter
and
how
there's an
you shake
audience
it.
next to you.
Yeah, well, no, even if, right? Doesn't matter. This is
Yeah.
an all in. He's low. You're going to fight him to the death. This is where you're at. Because without killing him, you've got two people here that are probably can rotate in and cut you off. So you need him to die so you can run. If you're going to run, you run this way, right? So, but either way, this fight itself, this 2v1 right here, is an all in. And you're going to fight it to the death. That's what you're going to
Hmm.
do. If you're going to fight to the death and you're just going to keep shooting him until he is dead, you need to be as close as you can possibly be to him in this scenario because he is not melee. He's burned
Yep.
all of his abilities on Nautilus, so you no longer have anything to fear from him, and you need to be in a position to do maximum damage if he tries to run from you, right? So, because, okay, again, if I keep it like this and the rope is on and it's tight, right? And he starts to run, how many additional auto attacks can you get from right here?
Couple. Not
I'm
not
going to say
enough.
maybe one. Because remember, like your max range of your autos is like right here. Right? So if he shoots and he decides to run, right? Maybe you'll get one while his model is like that and then he's gone, right?
Hmm.
So if I move everything and I auto, okay, so I auto now, and then in the time it's taking me for my next attack, I move to here, and then I auto again, right? Now my max range, and this is my character model, right? Now the max range of my autos looks like that. That's 3 auto attacks,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to auto him once. He's going to start to run. I'm going to chase. I'm going to auto him again. And then he's going to run, and he'll probably be at the max of my range at that point, and then I'm going to auto him again, and then he's out, right? And then I'll have to shoot my longer range abilities or something to try to catch him, right? But it doesn't, like, staying at max range does not fucking matter if you're going all in and he doesn't have any abilities left. Because the whole point of
Hmm.
staying out of range is to stay out of range of his abilities or of his ability to damage you. He's putting everything on Nautilus right now. He
Yeah.
can't damage you. So you do that. Auto, auto, and then right here,
Walks to the side.
He goes this way. Why? What's he gonna do to damage you? He's Vlad. Look, he has a whopping 81 damage on his auto attacks.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the biggest problem is, you see this blue fucking weird little background thing that he's got is movement speed from his fourth shot ultimate.
Yeah.
He gets this far, just go forward. And that's the thing is, and what makes it even worse is he's about to shoot his W,
Yeah.
right? So why would you shoot your W from down here when you could shoot it from right here? You have
This
much.
is a fade out W.
Well, that's what I'm
You
saying.
want
If I shoot my W from right here, and this is his character model, I'm just making this up. It's not that wide, but for the sake
yeah.
of, I know everybody on YouTube is gonna be like, but his character model's not that wide, and I don't care. Here's the point, right? Is if I shoot and I miss and I shoot that way, I still hit. If I shoot and I miss and I shoot that way, I still hit. If I shoot this way, I hit, 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 hit. All of this crap right here. These are all hits,
Yeah.
right? And it kills his ability to juke side to side because unless I just pick this edge of his body and then he jukes this way, then I'm gonna hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But doing the same thing, I should never erase that huge circle, but okay, so doing the same thing. Again, he's the blob, but still, right? Now, if I'm gonna do the same thing and I'm gonna hit, and this is my character model, I'm gonna hit there, hit there.
And everywhere in between.
But do you see what happened? Like the width of this thing went down to that, right? So compare
Yeah.
this to the thing I did earlier, which was from here, and it was that.
Yeah.
Like
Pizza.
that is your higher percentage shot. Use your fucking movement speed to put you in a position to finish. He should never escape there. Right? Like this, I'm Nautilus in these type of games, and I would go, "You've got to be fucking kidding me!" This is where I'm yelling and tilting.
I
Is
was
is this
yelling.
play?
I was like, "Oh my god, don't please, Jen, stop."
Because because this isn't even a mechanical fail. This is a brain fail. Right? This is like, I didn't see the opportunity to move this way and kill him. I'm scared for no reason. So I don't want to be scared, and so I'm going to move to safe. And like, you will not climb. And this is the thing that kills me is whenever like challenger players are like, the way you get better is by not dying. Bullshit. The way you get better is by killing in this game. Because if you focus on killing, you will never miss this play.
Yeah.
Right? And then as you focus on killing and you die a whole bunch, after you get your killer instinct honed, you can always dial it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can never dial it forward because shit like this is a mark on the screen.
Yep.
You know, it's just one of these. And the more of these you get, the more difficult it is to see this crap in the future. You know,
Yep.
and you got to make sure not to accumulate too many of these, right? And by the way, that's how I can tell, or this is how I know when someone is good, is because a play will happen that they will make happen, and it'll be like that, and I'll be like, oh, holy shit, I never even saw that play as being possible. This
Mm-hmm.
guy, this guy's good. And not only will I gain respect for that person, but I'll lose some of my sight block by playing with somebody who's better like that,
Yeah.
right? Now, this is the mentality that pisses me off. This play happens and it fails because I didn't see it and I didn't follow up with it and I wasn't trying to do shit. And then I go, wow, you're an idiot, right? Because My training and experience as a silver player or a gold player or whatever, I don't see this play, right? And if I don't see this play and somebody does something like this and then they die for it, and I do results based analysis and I just say, you know what? That was
You're
dumb.
bad.
You're bad.
Yep.
Or like, oh my God, it's a 5v3. You're bad. Because you remember, and that's, I'm going to, for the sake of anybody who's watching, actually, let's not even make it a 5v3. 5v question mark? And because all that this stands for is being number blind.
Yeah.
I will never go in on a fight if I don't have the numbers advantage because that's the most important thing in League of Legends is how many people you have, right?
I've
Wrong.
seen many times where two people have 2v5 the team.
Right. And but if you never go for that play, then
It'll never happen.
this keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker over time.
Yeah.
I mean, mentally, that's the kind of shit people do to themselves. And this is not an S, it's supposed to be a fucking 5.
I figured that out.
So I'm going to make it look more like a 5. Anyway, but, this is what people do to themselves, and then they don't see it. And because they blind themselves to it, because that's what the result is going to be, right?
Yeah.
Is I'm going to not see. I choose to not see because I tried it once and it didn't work. So, I mean, that's something huge. Now, what I will say is like people ask me, Blake, how do you get better at being more aggressive? I get this question all the fucking time, right?
Be more
Now,
aggressive.
now, and well, that's an easy thing to say, right? But the real answer is like this: you're gonna play like musical chairs, right? I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a topic on the podcast this week, but
Looks like the side of an ergot
really,
handed
because it
around.
looks to me like a squid of some type. But okay.
Ergot's kind of like a squid, right?
So we're playing musical chairs and we're running around. You played this game as a child, right? Musical chairs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like some
Oh
kind of a
yeah.
weird Midwestern game or something. And I'm like, musical chairs, and everybody's like, what? But
What's that?
well, I've had that happen a lot where I'm like, yeah, I'm eating some of my snacking ham, and people are like, snacking ham? What the fuck are you talking about? I was like, you don't just cut up chunks of ham and put them in your freezer or your fridge and just eat ham whenever you want. It's awesome.
I don't do that, but
It's
some people do.
amazing, and you should. Just smoked ham. It takes forever to go bad, and that's a life tip. Snacking ham.
Too much
It's
sodium.
no, you have you buy one of those like butt hams, and then you just carve it, and then you leave
Mm-hmm.
it in like Ziploc bags in your fridge, and you can just num 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 like lunch meat. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the point. Musical chairs. Think about what your mindset is when you play the game musical chairs, right? You're at the height of alertness. You are like waiting just on bated breath for the triggering event to happen to cause you to dash, right? Your muscles are knotted like a fucking jungle cat until some stupid child song comes to a close, and then you can react and pounce upon that immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the mindset you're in.
And
If
that's why
that
people get hurt playing the game.
Sure, but if that is your mindset in League of Legends, in laning and getting kills, right? Is I'm waiting, I'm testing, you know what I mean? Like I'm fainting for the chair because I thought the music got a little slow for a second. Like if that is how you lane, right? Then you will absolutely see a noticeable improvement
Mm-hmm.
in your KDAs. You'll probably die a lot, but play like I said, play League like you'd play musical chairs.
Yep.
Okay, so that being said, this recording has gone over an hour, so I'm gonna stop here. And I think what? Oh no, that's not why I'm stopping. But anyway, uh, So that being said, I think we've covered enough ground. But the big things that I would say is like is whoa, that's too small. So like the highlight of things that we need to talk about. What are some of the things that we talked about early on decision making? Oh, the zoning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You did pretty good, but you could do better,
Yep.
right? So like zone and pressure, especially with Quinn, is super important, right? You think about playing basketball like you'd play a full court press. That needs to be what it feels like playing Quinn all the time. Is that they're under a full court press, right? And then two, mechanics. Do you have a button for target champions only?
I do not.
Get one on your mouse, preferably. Like I have, I can't really. Well, I'll see if I can turn on my camera. All right. So if you're looking at the stream right now, I'm not screen sharing, but I have two buttons on my mouse right there. Where is it? This button and wait, no. Let's see. It's these two buttons. Okay. Shit, dropped it. Okay, that did not work. Hold on one second. Okay, it is this button and this button, which are located like right next to where my thumb would be. Those are buttons I use for target champions only. If I have like Vlad in a minion wave and I'm going all in, and the thing I cannot do is target a minion for that one lost auto attack, I'm holding down my target champions only button whenever I'm clicking on the guy.
Right.
Right? So that being said, we're gonna go back to coaching. So yeah, zone press, mechanics, and this is target champions only button. You need to probably have one of those, particularly with Quinn, and then get used to using it. And
Yeah.
your roaming was good. Oh, that's what it was. Save gap. Save gaps and make them react
Mm-hmm.
before you do that. Okay?
All right.
So these are the top three. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
No, that good information.
All right. So, hey, if you want, schedule one of these with Ponderous at some point. He is better on the laning stuff. Like, I'm not a great, I know what to do, but I don't do it well. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He is like a lot more mechanical of a player, and he could probably help you a lot more with like the micro stuff and landing. Like you need to stand here, don't position here,
Yeah.
shoot stuff through the wave here, right? My stuff's a lot more about like mentality, and his stuff's a lot more about execution, I think.
Right.
So depending on what you think you need, I'm happy to do this again in a couple of weeks if you want me to, but do record gameplay footage though. Okay?
Right. That I will do in the future.
All right, man. With that, I will close this and upload this to YouTube on our channel. You can find it anytime you need it. Okay?
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
No problem, dude.